Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. So here's the deal. Here's the sitch, as they say. We have ourselves a little bit of a rework opportunity to discuss from a champion that isn't terrible, but isn't great. It's the vision that you can get from a crystal, the Age of Ultron vision. And so, you'd think he could probably be not only better, but more unique from OG Vision. And so does Doomsday Supreme, who has submitted this Age of Ultron Vision rework overhaul. And you can see that he spends so much time on this, he even has a quick description. Developed with Vibranium, known as Vision, tech class, all things usual. But here, this actually makes sense, right? He's got Indestructible, Phase, Psychic Blast, large amounts of both physical and energy resistance, Miss Falter, God, look at all these, Power Generation, Immunity to Armor Break, Armor Shatter, Massive Regeneration Boost when losing health. You want to talk about somebody that on paper sounds like they could be both a Beyond God Tier attacker and especially defender. Whew! Now, we have covered reworks in the past that were so amazing that Kabam thought they were too amazing, and OG Spidey might be the latest culprit of this. Vision Age of Ultron's mechanic has loads of utility for both offense and defense. His immunities make him one of the most reliable characters in the game. He is indestructible and is literally capable of smashing through anything. He is made of vibranium, making him nearly indestructible in almost any case. His indestructible buff makes him a pain to fight against on defense and a lifesaver on offense. In a phase mechanic, the Vision can seemingly move through you, and you can miss it in a blink. Because of this, oftentimes you can't hit him when you would like to, another safety net on top of Vision's phase mechanic. So at this point, you're like, he's too powerful, right? Indestructible, phasing, Miss Falter. This sounds like a mixture between like Hulkling and Ebony Coleslaw. Also, high amounts of resistance. Vision is made of vibranium. That being said, his resistance is very strong. And then he has a lot of overload when using Vision for regen and power gain. Again, sounds crazy OP, but that's what makes this rework fun to cover because it's all hypothetical. Can't cut through this indestructible machine. Armor break, shatter immunities. So weaknesses, I think it's supposed to say Fate Seal. Fat Seal sounds like what I try to put my shirt over my stomach to cover. Fat Seal will really hurt the Vision and threaten to put him out of commission unless he's awakened, of course, but we will get to that later. Miss counter. Anybody countering Vision's miss will have an easier time dealing with him and also prevent him from using a lot of his mechanics. And so his indestructible, Vision's personal indestructible buff is passive and also provides plus 20% of modified attack rating. On defense, his indestructible buff is not passive. Vision can gain his indestructible buffs two ways, either through a heavy attack or his special attacks. Developer note, the Vision's indestructible is a key part of his kit. Becoming indestructible not only can protect you, but unlocks more damage potential. Heavy attacks. When charging a heavy attack, the Vision becomes indestructible for 8 seconds. Cooldown 18 seconds. When landing a heavy attack, gain a cruelty buff, granting 900 critical damage rating and lasting 6 seconds. With a precision buff, granting 1,000 critical rating and lasting 6 seconds. So this is apparently choking me up. Actually, I've got a piece of popcorn stuck in the back of my throat. We're going to power through. If the opponent is not stunned when landing this heavy attack, gain 2 of each buff instead. When using the heavy attack, it is best to try and intercept. After all, he will become indestructible temporarily, so there really is no harm done if you mess up. That's a good point. Resistances. Physical and energy resistance passively increases. Developer note, Vision becomes more tanky as the fight goes on, leading to even more of a safety net. Man, just a Beyond God Tier defender and then some. Regen and power gain. When reaching certain thresholds, Vision regenerates 8,458 health over 8 seconds, 50%, 20%, so that kind of reminds us of Ultron, right? During regen, also gain a power gain buff, granting 40% of maximum power over 8 seconds. That's a lot. That makes me think of somebody like Iron Package. As long as regeneration is active, the power gain buff is active, but if the regeneration buff is removed, the power gain buff is also simultaneously removed. However, heal block does not count towards this effect. He's immune to cold snap, Bleed, poison, armor shatter, armor break, fatigue. Holy cow. When the opponent attempts to inflict vision with any of the previously stated debuffs, they instead place a personal vengeful robotics debuff to vision, which will come in handy later. Vision's immunities make it easier to fight on certain nodes. His vengeful robotics provide him with the means of revenge later. And then phase mechanic. When ending a 5-hit combo with a medium attack, the vision begins phasing for 6 seconds, causing all opponents' attacks to miss. Phasing removes all vengeful robotics debuffs from vision and replaces each one with 2 synthesis justice passives. Any miss while phasing provides the vision with more force, each providing an extra 1 second to vision's indestructible buff. And then synthesis justice passives can also be gained by receiving hits while indestructible. When vision has 10 or more synthesis justice passives on him, he can convert them into passive furies. This is where vision's huge damage comes from. You want to end a 5-hit combo with a medium attack once you have a large amount of vengeful robotics debuffs on you, leading to synthesis justice passives. Can we just stop this and say the detail on this is incredible? So much amazing work was put into this. If you feel if you do not have any vengeful robotics debuffs, you can instead use heavy attacks and allow yourself to get hit while indestructible and then phase. These ways both result in the synthesis justice passives, which can be converted into furies. All special attacks. Vision gains his personal indestructible buff and a passive unstoppable buff during any special attack, pausing for the duration of the special and lasting 5 seconds after each special attack as well. When placed on defense, these buffs are not passive. Special 1, we don't trade lives. Power burn the opponent for 20% of their current power. Gain 5 synthesis justice passives. Special 2, the greater good. Inflict 1 pressure point debuff. Start paused. Last 20 seconds after the special attack. Pressure points reduce the opponent's armor rating and their resistances. Further note, this is the main source of damage for short and medium fights. Once you have all your furies, launch special 2. Watch those big yellow numbers. The opponent's defense gets absolutely nuked. Get small amounts of power point and health. Vibranium. Vision gains an aura of Vibranium, increasing the potency of all buffs currently on Vision by 300%. This is the final dagger for Vision. To finish off a long fight, you want to ramp him up with Furies, apply pressure points, use a heavy attack, then launch a special 3 for maximum damage. That sounds fairly complicated to me on offense, but defense, this just sounds like a nightmare. Sig ability, Vision's buffs. I was born yesterday. That's a great title, too. Very creative and funny. Vision's pressure point debuffs also become passive. Vision's buffs all become passive. Synergy bonuses. Scarlet Witch Classic and Black Ice of Store. Wiccan, when activating a spell, gain a Fury buff. Brother-in-law Quicksilver, dash back and hold block for armor rating. And then Avengers. 20% of max power reaching 20 hits on the combo meter. That's kind of cool. How about Ultron? When activating a special attack, the attack bonus given to Ultron is the same for each bleed, degen, debuff, but the bleed, degen, debuffs are no longer removed. Masteries include parry, suicides, and I'm sure other things we could discuss. This is one of the most impressively complicated and detailed. I don't mean complicated as in it's too confusing. It's just like very detailed. But Doomsday Supreme has really outdone himself with this one. Age of Ultron, Vision could become God tier and beyond God tier depending on defense and offense with this rework. Now, will something like this ever happen? Who knows? But I am honored to feature your buff concepts on my channel, as these are some of the most amazing submissions from the community and a really unique kind of video too. Thanks again, Doomsday Supreme, for the Champion Spotlight overhaul vision. Hopefully this literal vision will come to fruition at some point.